I have SI joint pain and I am training to run a marathon. Actually, I am training to run the Dopey, which is a 5K, 10K, half and full marathon 4 days in a row. How is it possible that I can run this far for this long with SI joint pain? Or how can I stand all day as I do for work with SI joint pain? Or how can I clean my house with SI joint pain? Today's video is for you if you are suffering with SI joint problems, pain, dysfunction, whatever you want to call it, and you feel like there's no hope for you and there's no way that you can do what you want to do in life and get back to the activities that you love doing. So this video started because I posted a video about the pelvic clock that I had tried and used and was giving my honest review of. And one of the comments, somebody commented, how do you know you have SI joint dysfunction? And how do you do things if you have SI joint pain? So I decided I needed to make a video to explain this to you, and especially to give you guys hope. If you have SI joint dysfunction or you have SI joint pain, there is hope for you in the future. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey and what I have been through, how I know I have SI joint dysfunction, the other things that I have going on, as well as what I've been doing to treat that, and that has allowed me to continue running, cleaning house, standing all day for work, and all the things that I do in life. I found out that I had SI joint dysfunction while I was getting my PhD. During those 6 years, while we were in class, of course, we're practicing on each other. And as we're looking at things and people are looking at my body, it's really the first time that anybody really took a look at what was going on and really started to put the pieces of my puzzle and my story together. So I had suffered from knee problems, ankle problems, foot problems, not really low back, but definitely like sciatica type stuff, definitely upper back, which is not necessarily related to my SI joint problems. It more has to do with the fact that I'm 6 feet tall, and I've been really tall since I was young, so I walked around like this for way too long. Still working on that one. But all of these problems were explained as my classmates realized the fact that my SI joint is not in the proper alignment. And it hadn't been since the birth of my second daughter. When I started my PhD program, my youngest daughter was 4, and at that point I had been suffering with some heel pain, specifically with running. That was my biggest problem at the time that I couldn't really explain. I tried stretching and strengthening and this and that and the other thing. So I became a great candidate when we were studying the foot, because I was like, hey, can you guys figure out what's going on with my heel pain? As they went through the evaluation and I got to be a test subject, what we realized was that my SI joint was out of alignment. So my pain was in my heel, but it was because my SI joint was not sitting in the correct spot. So we worked on that. We did some mobilization, some soft tissue. Well, I mean, they worked on that, right? It's really hard to do that stuff on yourself. But they worked on it, and they gave me some exercises because we found some strength deficits that even though I could run, I wasn't doing it correctly, and I was increasing this problem. So through doing that, the joint mobilization, soft tissue, exercises, just getting some body work done and getting things in alignment, I was able to get back to running pain-free. And that's when I realized the importance of being able to maintain this in the long term. It's a little bit more challenging now because I don't have my friends around to be able to treat me. So now I need to do it on my own. And since then, I've also found some other things. I found the importance of organ mobility, of your diaphragm moving correctly, of your mesentery moving correctly, and how all of those things pull on the front, which can cause problems in the back. Now, when my SI joint flares up, what I have is, I call it phantom sciatica pain. So it's pain in the distribution of the sciatic nerve, but it's not that sharp shooting sciatic type pain. It's a phantom pain. So it's in that distribution, but it's not the same quality of pain. It feels more like a tension or a tightness. And actually what will happen if I let it go too long and don't do what I'm supposed to do, keep up with my stretches and my exercises and all of those things, it'll actually go up into my shoulder. So I have to be very mindful of keeping up with all the things that I was told to do so many years ago, because my youngest daughter is now 18. So all of this knowledge and awareness started 14 years ago. But as long as I keep up with everything and I'm very diligent about it, I can keep moving forward with my goals. So my goal currently is to be able to run the Dopey Challenge, which is at Walt Disney World. It's a 5K Thursday, a 10K Friday, a half marathon Saturday, and a marathon on Sunday. And I've looked at the training program. It is super intense. It's going to be crazy. So I'm spending this year getting ready for that training program. Specifically for me, I need to make sure that I'm working on my hip strength, because when my hips are weak, and I don't mean weak like I can't walk, I mean weak like I can't run a marathon, right? There's a different level of strength that I need to run a marathon than to run the 10 miles that I usually run. So I'm working on my hip strength to increase that so that it doesn't throw my SI joint out of alignment. I'm also continuing to do mobilization exercises and soft tissue on myself to help keep that SI joint in the right spot. It is difficult for me to see if my SI joint is in the correct spot, and so I've trained my family because you got to use your resources. I've trained my family to be able to look at it and tell me if it is in the correct spot or not. And I'll go work on myself at this point in order to get it in the right spot, to make sure that all the exercises and stretching I'm doing are helping to promote it in the right spot. Because we don't want that SI joint to be stretched or strengthened if it's in the wrong spot, because that will just lead to further decay and damage and in the long-term pain. I really need to make sure that SI joint's in the right spot, especially if I'm going to do a high-level activity such as running. I hope that you take from this that your body and your health are a journey. And once you find out that you have something going on, it is something that you're gonna have to manage for the rest of your life. When you hit a spot in life where you wanna up your physical goals or what you're doing, or you get pregnant, or you go through menopause, or something changes in your life, you're also gonna have to up the physical aspect of that. Now, some people are capable of doing that on their own because they don't have a huge amount of dysfunction. But some people need some help, and you need some hands-on treatment to make sure that every tissue is moving correctly, because every tissue in your body is designed to be able to heal itself as long as it's moving correctly. So remember a couple minutes ago, I said that I really focus on keeping that joint mobility and that joint in the correct space. Although it is more difficult because it's just me doing it right now, it's still something that I have to be focused on, because as I increase my training, it is going to become a bigger and bigger problem that may keep me from hitting my goals if I don't deal with it beforehand. So I'm being really proactive because I know what this goal is that's coming up. I'm spending an entire year making sure that my body's in position to be able to hit that goal. Now for you, what you need is to have someone who can walk alongside you in a really holistic way to look at not only where is your body now and what is happening right now, but what are your goals? Because what your goals are determines the path that you're on. Some people I work with have a goal of being able to go for a 3-mile walk 3 times a week. Some people I work with have a goal of being able to run an ultra marathon. I work with triathletes and dancers and soccer players and all kinds of different people who have different goals. Some people want to just be able to clean their house pain-free, and I totally get that, because being able to just do something functional on a daily basis is really important too. Whatever your goal is, that's what we need to be training for. You don't need a list of generic exercises that are going to help increase your hip strength if it's not strong enough to do what you want to do, because hip strength is on a scale, right? Do you need hip strength to be able to go for a walk? hip strength to be able to go for a run, hip strength to be able to do this higher level activity. It's all different, and it needs to be taken into account so that you can find the best treatment for yourself, as well as what you need to do for the long term to keep your body able to do this. I hope that answered the question of how I have SI joint dysfunction and occasionally pain that I have managed for the past 14 years well enough that I am now in the process of training for a crazy race season. And I hope that it helps give you some hope and inspiration as to what you can do for yourself. If this has been helpful, I definitely encourage you to check out this video over here. And I would love for you to click subscribe because we upload videos twice a week. Have a great day, everyone.